my wall then.
I'm deducting that from your exposure bucks.
And folks, on that note, welcome yet again to this week's edition of Nerd Week Live here on YouTube. As you can see from what you're looking at there, this is my little tiny head over here and I'm waving. Skype has done some weird stuff with the layout of our screens, so this is what we got this week until we can figure out how to make that change. But we're going to start with the introductions, of course, and I am Rodney Brown. I'm the editor-in-chief of Nerd Caliber. I am first-person shooter on the internet when it comes to cosplay photography. I am Burly Adopter on the Twitters and some other places when it comes to tech journalism and things like that. We'll do this the easy way for the rest of the introductions. The image that I am a tiny little head embedded in, right above the Luffy flag. Introduce yourself, sir.
Hello, this is Byron D. Zero, the pirate king of the internet. How y'all doing? I have my own podcast called the Week Crash Camp Podcast, and I've been known to do some streaming as well. I am recently on weekends doing streams of Tales of Vesperia, the definitive edition. So if you have time on Twitch on the weekends, you should check that out. It's really dope. I love the game. I love sharing tales with people. So there you go.
There you go. Right below him, the other person with the blue background.
The original guy with a blue background.
Original guy. The person who I'm stealing my background idea from.
I had a blue background before. It was cool.
Hey, listen, I'm Brown Rodney, so you calm down there. Hi,
I
everyone.
like
It's Louis Carell, also Crash the Stampede on Steam. Co-producer at Nerd Caliber, doing a bunch of shows in our studio pretty lately, which I'm looking forward to be showcasing that pretty soon. Some cosplayer highlights, which is going to be fantastic for you guys to view on this channel when we have them up. So you guys stay tuned for that kind of stuff. We're going to have a great show tonight. I'm hoping that you guys engage us in a lot of conversation. Ask some questions off in that chat. Shoot them right towards us, guys. Greg?
Hey y'all, Greg Snyder, associate editor. You know me as Wonder Llama cosplay and/or photography, depending on what you catch at any given show.
You should just change your page to that. Just do one joint page, and/or photography.
And/or photography, exactly. I
like it.
Hold on. Beep boop 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 boop. Okay, all set. Yeah. So I just want to throw a quick shout out since it's 11 degrees in Boston right now and it's been colder than that. I thought it was apropos to put on not just any Hawaiian shirt, but bonus points for who can tell me what this pattern is.
Yes, I love
Anyone?
it. I love it. I won't give it away until we see somebody in the chat say it, or nobody in the chat gets it. Speaking of chat, Sinister, hello. Emily, hello. Sarah, hello. Meme Review, hello. Alpaca, hello. Monica, hello. Emily, hello. And Yo Merengues, hi. Sarah, we can't do Bonnie live because Bonnie's in a costume and it's really difficult to, or Bonnie is a costume, and it's really difficult to do a news show when you've got and nobody can hear you speak. So, but it's a great idea. Thank you for suggesting it. If we can figure out a way, like maybe embed a mic in there or something. Anyway, we are going to start off with our very first topic because we got some interesting things that are going to, I think, have a lot of discussion back and forth. And the first topic is yet more Dune casting news. This happens every week. We do the show. We get off the air at 9:15, whatever, and 9:30, 10 o'clock, they announce another cast member for Dune. It's been the way for the last 3 weeks, I swear.
The power of the spice, man.
Exactly. Exactly. The spice must flow. Anyway, that's Charlotte Rampling, the wonderful actress Charlotte Rampling, who is going to be the Reverend Mother Helen Gaius Mohayam. The Reverend Mother. I don't know, it's not villain. It's hard to say. Hard to describe what Reverend Mother is.
Yeah. So I don't know if you could really call her a villain. She is villainous, but she's not really. She's one of many antagonists.
There you go. Yep.
Throughout Dune.
Yep.
And gives us some of the most iconic bits of Dune lore. If we've got any Dune fans on the line here tonight, hopefully. So this to me is some pretty cool casting. We've talked sort of dream casting for this, and I don't know that we came up with anybody brilliant for that, but She's a fantastic actress. May not be super well known to a lot of people. She was actually in Assassin's Creed. She was in Red Sparrow, if anyone saw that. She was brilliant in Red Sparrow. Small role, but pretty vicious. So that's a good bit of casting right up there with some of the other stuff we've seen so far.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. I think it's a great choice. I want to see her play something much more with much more gravitas. I mean, her villainous roles have been not necessarily heavy with the weight of the expectations of an entire universe in this case, like the Reverend Mother. That's a character, that's the Pope, basically. That's the Pope of the Dune universe. So I'm really looking forward to this. In the article, they point out, apparently she started her career as an extra in A Hard Day's Night.
Ooh. Who knew?
Well, that reporter did, apparently.
Did any of you guys see Red Sparrow? I know I screened it for Nerd Caliber, but didn't know if any of you guys had seen it.
No, I feel like it slipped right through my
fingers.
Same here. Just
she had a small role, but she definitely got to play the quiet, deeply sinister menace, so to speak, and she was quite good at that. The Reverend Mother goes from quiet and sinister to just over the top scenery chewing, using the voice to yell at people. I think they're going to turn her loose, hopefully.
Yeah.
And she's just going to be, what's the right word? She's going to be all over this bit.
Well, I hope so.
The way you make it sound, she definitely has the chops for it.
She does. And the one thing that I did not actually know, because I think I've actually only seen this once, and it was a long time ago, and I'm still kind of scarred. She starred opposite Sean Connery
in Zardoz.
Zardoz.
Yep.
Yes. Cult classic of sorts. Probably better known for its drunken late night cosplays than it is for being a good movie, which it really wasn't. But yeah. Who knew?
What happens when you try to do a far future post-apocalyptic science fiction movie that you've written while you're on acid or shrooms?
Hey, it worked for Dennis Hopper and Easy Rider.
Well, that's true. Anyway, moving on to our next topic. Our next topic is news related to that young lady right there. That is Do Bongsoon, the lead character in the Korean drama Strong Woman Do Bongsoon, which is apparently the accurate title of it, not Strong Girl Bongsoon, which is what it's called on Netflix and in a lot of other American. Anyway, doesn't matter a whole lot. The news is that this drama is going to be turned into a US series with none other than Ronda Rousey executive producing. And my guess would be, although it doesn't say this, starring, because the description makes it sound like they're going from a dramedy, a Korean drama, almost a rom-com dramedy, that just happens to have a main character who is a completely unassuming, tiny little woman who is super strong and invulnerable, to a straight-up action described flick. In this case, as opposed to a wannabe game designer, which is what Bongsoon is, it follows a former war photographer named Reina, who discovers she is indestructible and potentially the strongest woman in the world. Ghosted by her Spec Ops fiancé when she reveals her newfound power to him, Reina is hired as a bodyguard by a billionaire named Oliver, who sees her true potential.
That sounds fucking horrible.
It kind of does, to be honest. Just a little bit.
That's like somebody who just really loves Tom Clancy and to the point that has his photos on the wall and kind of beats off to him every night, decided that they wanted to make a rom-com that was basically like The Bodyguard meets Spec Ops.
Or Rainbow Six.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna do that, why even bother saying it's an adaptation of Bongsoon?
Well, I mean, if you realistically you do that because you want to try to lure those people in that liked that original show.
True.
If anything, though, it makes me more interested for Bongsoon itself.
Honestly, I've seen it on Netflix. I keep saying, and I love the few Korean dramas that I've seen. Most of them are historical. And I keep saying, I got to see this. And I know a lot of people who have recommended it to me. And now I'm like, yeah, okay, now I've got to see this. Because it actually sounds way better than what they're describing they're going to make as the U.S. version.
Yeah, let's Death Note this up.
Yeah, I mean, the whole war photographer thing is just like, let's etch it up, dudes.
Yeah, and the Spec Ops fiance. Oh God, anyway.
The right amount of ink.
Yep. Right, we're just gonna ratchet the edge up to 11. Super edgy.
Right.
Sorry, Sarah, that's a really long chat for me to get in the middle of what we're talking about here. Yeah, are you super serial? All right, I'll check it out. So anyway, the 20th Century Fox, I guess, is doing this. Well, CW is where it's going to be. No, CBS TV Studios is making it, and CW is where it's going to be. Nothing in this article about when we're going to see this, but I'm guessing it's probably going to be 2020 or later. Yeah.
By then, we'll probably have another war that they can pull crap from.
God, please no. Anyway, moving on to our next topic. That, folks, right there is, of course, Lord of the Rings. Not that you'd recognize it if you've never seen the Ralph Bakshi animated version from the 1970s.
You had to go with that, didn't you?
I did, and I
just fucking with me.
I did, and the reason I went with this is because the story isn't about the Lord of the Rings movies or Peter Jackson stuff or anything. It's about an upcoming tour about Tolkien, the creator of Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit and all of that. And so I thought if I used a Peter Jackson image, everybody would think it was about the movie. There is a tour that is going on.
Jackson will find some way to make it about himself.
Possibly. What they're driving is a massive tour, a large exhibit about J.R.R. Tolkien. It's going to be at New York's Morgan Library Museum starting Friday and running through May 12th. And it's all about Tolkien, the works he's created. It's taken from the Bodleian Library in Oxford, Marquette University Libraries. Photographs, memorabilia, his original illustrations, maps, draft manuscripts, and so on of the various works that Tolkien wrote.
So if anybody suffers from insomnia, there you go. There you go. The cure that ails you.
Oh, wow. Savage.
Perfect timing with your yawn there.
Lewis, man, you're killing me. You're killing me, Smalls.
Kimberly,
Bill.
Kimberly, welcome. And our days, I'm assuming our days are going pretty well. It's very cold where we are. I'm not sure how it is where you are, but it got down to a high of 7 yesterday. So, yay.
I'm pretty sure I saw a couple of banthas over here.
That's right. That's right. It's Hoth out there. Hoth in the city. Come on, Greg. Where's your 17-minute spiel?
Yeah, I got nothing, Lewis. After that slap down, what am I going to say? You just don't get it, man.
You're forgetting that the one elf deity they didn't include in freaking Lord of the Rings, freaking Lunesta the Sleep. That's what it is.
Damn.
Savage McGillicuddy.
I really can't help it if the only thing you can read is the play button on your Xbox.
Yeah, and it's more entertaining.
Well, for that 1 second, okay.
Yeah. So, what is the Lord of the Rings game? Shadow of Mordor. Have you played Shadow of Mordor? You would not be able to play Shadow of Mordor if it wasn't for this man. Not Greg.
I could play Fantasy Assassin's Creed in numerous other ways.
So, Lewis, what you're trying to say is you're not a big fan.
Oh, I mean, it's like when I get out of my house and I walk to my mailbox and then I drop something off and I come back. That's Lord of the Rings in a nutshell. Maybe with some friends and a weapon. If my neighbors were charging at me and trying to destroy my house.
Okay. I did not
Yes.
realize you lived in a giant stone castle inside of a mountain, but
I mean, how
There
about
we go.
being a better friend, Greg? Maybe you'd know these things.
I guess that's on me. I'm too busy reading stuff to catch up.
It's like wearing a Hawaiian shirt in winter. It's just fucking weird.
So what you're saying
I
is,
think it's hopeful.
A different thing.
so Lewis, what you're saying is that Johnny Dagger's going to bite your finger off when you get down to your mailbox.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, on that note, and that's way too inside about Lewis's friends and so on. So sorry about all that, folks.
Rodney king shaming me here.
Kink shame, not at all. Let us move on to our next topic. Our next topic is, I'm sure everybody has heard all about this. They made the announcement this morning, and I kind of went nuts. Black Panther has been nominated for 7 awards in the Academy Awards, but it is nominated for Best Picture, the first superhero movie to be nominated for Best Picture. Not the first nerd movie, because when you think about it, Shape of Water.
That's
Yeah.
fair.
But absolutely,
Technically, Dark Knight. Technically, Dark Knight.
Dark Knight was nominated.
For Best
I
Picture?
thought
No, it can't be because everybody has been saying this is the first superhero movie, and that would be called a superhero movie.
oh yes, right. Yeah, definitely, because Dark Knight got like Heath Ledger nominated.
Right, Heath Ledger nominated and won. But anyway, so Dark Knight is up for Best Picture. I love that.
You mean Black Panther?
Right, Black Panther is up for Best Picture, or Dark Knight, depending on how you.
They really just need that movie. Really just needs it. So
It
just
does.
Dug it up.
It does. Is nominated for Best Picture, and I love the fact that that the Academy is recognizing huge blockbuster movies as being important and deserving recognition. That said, it's a great movie. It's not a Best Picture Oscar movie.
Nah, not really. And that's like, I'm sure there are a lot of people in my social circle that will be surprised to hear me say that, because I have sang this movie's praises so much, but I've also been pretty critical of it. Like, I'm one of the few reviewers in my community that did not give it a perfect score, and it's because I definitely enjoyed it. I didn't think it was a perfect film, but I definitely wasn't as harsh as some people. So I kind of toed the line.
Yeah, I thought it was wonderful. It was mostly very well written, with a couple of clunkers. It was very well acted. There wasn't a bad performance in the movie. But some of the CGI was slipshod, and in particular, the most important part, the big fight scene at the end, the CGI was just not good. The choreography and the entire design of that fight was dark, muddy, tough to watch, and only saved by the excellent performances by Chadwick Boseman and Michael Jordan.
Right.
Michael B. Jordan, sorry, because we don't want to make...
Presumably that's what the Academy is kind of hanging their hats on, largely because it was such a massive hit, largely because the acting talent was as good or better than anything you typically get in a Marvel or a DC movie. Chadwick Boseman was fantastic. Michael Jordan, I mean, we talked about this and we've covered this movie before. The thing that really resonated for a lot of people was the dynamic between the two of them was something probably everybody can relate to on some level. You've got a friend, a relative, somebody that you've had a similar kind of fuck you relationship with. No one's stolen my throne, but I never had one in the first place. So I'm guessing that played a big part in it. Huh?
You're a king in your heart, dude.
It's, well,
There you go.
Crown Prince anyway. But it seems like this is one of those years where the list is fairly slim. I mean, I'm looking at this right now. Black Panther, Black Klansman, Bohemian Rhapsody, The Favorite, Green Book, Roma, A Star is Born, and Vice.
I definitely would have. I'd put Roma way above on that.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, Vice is going to sweep. And there's no chance whatsoever that Black Panther is going to beat either Vice or Roma or The Favorite, for that matter. It's just not going to happen.
So here's something I'm going to touch upon real quick, because there's actually something that I directly dealt with this morning. If you don't agree that a movie doesn't deserve to be Best Picture and you have honest critique about it, that's fantastic. I love hearing that critique. If your only critique of, say, Black Panther is, man, it's pandering to a certain dynamic of people, and that's why it's Best Picture. First off, you're a coward for not saying black. Man the hell up and say black, because that's what you're talking about. And you're trying to phrase it in a way that doesn't make you sound freaking racist. But it's not pandering to black people, because if you say it's the first Best Picture nomination that has an all-black cast, and you're forgetting that Moonlight in 2016 was an all-black cast and took Best Picture. So that argument is fucking stupid, straight up.
12 Years a Slave was dominantly a black cast.
If you want to argue other issues, because Black Panther, as everyone, I think we all collectively agree that it doesn't deserve to be nominated for Best Picture. It's a beautiful movie, but it's a Marvel movie. And I wouldn't be surprised if we're going to use the term pandering, they were pandering to Marvel fans who are just rabid as hell, as we've seen. They'll just consume anything. And, they wanted to bring some people in to watch the show. That's a good way is to nominate one of the ultra popular movies, get the people in there, and then you sweep it with other shows, But come on.
I mean, that's what we were. Yeah. That's what we were talking about before we went live, was that I think that this is clearly the movie that, because it was so widely talked about, because it got great critical reviews for the most part, it got great user reviews, it's got a great Rotten Tomatoes score, it made $1 billion. It's included largely because it was such a huge phenomenon. And I thought it was one of my favorite movies of last year. I think everybody on this call right now thinks it was probably top 3 or 4. But when you say best Oscar, best film in the Oscars, I don't know that it rises to that level of cinematic execution.
Yeah.
And
I definitely agree. And it's funny because I feel like maybe my opinion is less biased purely because I watched it months after it came out versus everyone else. There was no hype train for me. I was just like, hey, this came out on TV. I'm gonna watch this on HBO. This is Black Panther. I have a slice of pizza. This is great.
Merengues, why boycott the Oscars? I assume it's because of something that they did or didn't do with their choices this year. Let us know. It'll take you a second to see that with our delays, so I'm going to respond to that after. This is obviously just an attempt to, as Lewis said, draw audience for the broadcast by nominating the most popular movie of the year that made the most money. And because their Nielsen ratings have been going into the toilet in the last 3 years. So that's why they did it. I'm glad they did it, but that's why they did it.
Yeah. The thing too that's kind of funny is that it wouldn't surprise me if The Favorite won, because that's Oscar catnip right there. It's a period piece. It's got ridiculous costuming. It's a tense, Elizabethan drama that 9 people saw. It's like the polar opposite of Black Panther, or for that matter, Bohemian Rhapsody. So it'll be interesting. Maybe A Star Is Born will win, and that's fits right down the center there. A lot of people loved it, made a lot of money, did well. If Vice wins, I'm gonna be pretty pissed, because that was a shitty movie.
Really? It looked awesome. I really liked
Christian Bale was great. It was a stupid ass movie.
Watch it.
All right. Definitely going to watch it. We are going to be moving on. Merengues. Aquaman wasn't even nominated. It did come out in December, so technically I guess it could.
I don't. I feel like they don't. If it comes at the tail end of the year, like right at the cusp of the new year, they carry it over to the next year.
Often that's the case. And because of Aquaman may be as big a moneymaker as Black Panther, and that may be next year's eyeball getter. Although, obviously, Endgame, Captain Marvel, it's Shazam.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I'd put it up with Shazam.
But I think, all right, so in fairness, I haven't seen Aquaman, but I've read a lot of reviews. I've talked to a lot of people. A lot of people thought it was a lot of fun, but as a movie, it was a hot mess. Yeah, is that a fair assessment for people who saw it?
I haven't seen it, but
secondhand.
The reviews I've seen pretty much all universally say that, yeah, this is fun as hell. This is a great DC movie, but this is also a great DC movie.
Well, the bar for DC movies was set about a stack of comic books high off the floor, so it didn't take much to clear that.
This high.
That high, yeah, just about that high.
I seen young white girls trip over higher bars trying to escape from murderers.
All right, on that note, let's talk about DC. More DC news.
That's a whole other show right there.
Exactly. That, folks, is one of the very first illustrations done by George Perez for the relaunch of the Teen Titans. The new Teen Titans title came out back in early 80s, I think. I'll have to go back and look that up. And the news is that the amazing artist George Perez is hanging up his pencil. He has announced that he is retiring. And he absolutely, it's a well-earned retirement. He had health issues, heart issues, a few years ago that kept him away from cons, which he loves to go to. And he recovered from that wonderfully. He went on to do cons for a number of years. I think the last 4 years since his heart issues. But he has now said that these, what he's calling myriad number of health issues, is forcing him to retire from the business of creating new comic stories. It doesn't say in here whether or not he will. He may not be. 2019 will be his last year touring the convention circuit as well. So if you know he's coming to a con near you this coming year, go see him. Or if you're a fan at all, or go to Dragon Con, because you know that he's going to end it. His last big hurrah is going to be Dragon Con, because he's at Dragon Con every single year. George Perez, folks, big fan. Yes, no.
I don't know him, so I was kind of you're gonna put me on a spot like this. No, how it's getting ass.
I'm more of a fan of him as a person because I've met him at Boston Comic Con, and he's just a really chill dude. I got to chat with him about comics. I'm nowhere near as well versed as you are, Rodney, but it was just like getting a chance to talk with someone in the industry and just talking about like my experiences as an artist myself, and just hearing his stories. He's a great guy, and he's definitely put in work. He's been an asset to this industry, and I hope that he gets some well-needed rest, because if anyone deserves it, he does.
For anybody who wants to know just how important he is, George Perez was responsible for the reboot of Wonder Woman that put her squarely into the Greek mythos, that laid out the entire storyline of Ares, that did all of the stuff that created the backdrop for the Wonder Woman appearance in the DCU. All of the relationship with her mother, the other Amazons, Ares, all of that is 100% because of George Perez. Just can't say enough good things about what he's done, mostly for DC. He did a little bit of work for Marvel, but he's been a DC guy almost exclusively. So let's hope you go fishing a lot, George, or whatever it is you like to do when you're retired.
Projecting a little bit there, aren't you?
I am projecting there quite a bit, actually. I would love to go fishing right now, actually, although it'd have to be ice fishing. Moving on to our next topic. That is Steve Carell. That is the closest thing I could think of to the fact that's an image to show that he is going to be starring in an upcoming TV series about Trump's Space Force.
Space Force.
Space Force. That is actually from the upcoming movie Marwen that he's in.
Did not get nominated for an Oscar.
It's not out yet, so it wouldn't be nominated.
Might get nominated for a Razzie.
Yeah. It might get nominated for an Oscar, frankly, from what I've been seeing about it. But anyway, that's not what this is about. This is about he is teaming up with Greg Daniels, who did the U.S. adaptation of The Office, which also starred Steve Carell.
And Parks and Rec.
And Parks and Rec, which did not star Steve Carell. But this is going to be an Office-like or Parks and Rec-like show about the people that have been assigned to somehow come up with the sixth branch of the Armed Services Space Force.
Huh.
That is beautiful.
So more of the same, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be Office-like, one would assume, or Parks and Rec-like.
Two shows I've never seen. So.
I didn't particularly care for The Office. Parks and Rec is very funny.
Parks and Rec is awesome.
It's hilarious.
If you want to do anything about Parks and Rec, go to YouTube and look up Patton Oswalt's 17-minute? No, it's not that long. 9-minute, non-stop, completely ad-libbed explanation about how Star Wars and the Marvel Universe can come together once Disney bought it. And this happened right after the Disney purchase was announced. It's all ad-lib, all completely off his head, and it's genius.
The funny part about that is it was like the context of that was it was a filibuster for like some sort of town junction, I believe.
Yeah. There was a vote going on in the town the board of selectmen or the town office, whatever they called it, and he didn't want the vote to happen, so he filibusters, and that's his filibuster, and it's
hilarious.
Oh, it's brilliant. Anyway, that aside, apparently Steve Carell is also going to be in another series with Jennifer Aniston and Reese Witherspoon that's coming up on Apple's streaming TV, Apple TV, I guess. And the article here says that this will not affect that work, that he will be able to do both of them. So, yay. Yay for Space Force.
That'll be a something.
Space Force. They all better wear space pants.
Somebody better.
Space pants.
They better actually write Trump into this thing. Please.
Space pants.
Space pants. Anyway. I think it's going to be hilarious. Again, no information about when this is going to happen. Let's look real quickly here. It is going to be on Netflix. So being Netflix, we'll find out exactly when this happens, probably 3 months prior.
Yep.
Yeah, sounds about right for Netflix.
Yep.
Chodor, Space Pants Robot Dance.
As soon as you get finished reading the Silmarillion for the second time, go watch Parks and Rec. You like it.
Oh, okay. All right. So I plan on reading that when I have my upcoming surgery, because then they won't have to use anesthesia.
Perfect.
Yeah. I'm going to walk in there, I'm going to be like, doctor, I have this book here, and he's going to look at it, read the cover, and be like, I know exactly what to do with this, and then he's going to beat me into unconsciousnly with it.
He won't have
to.
to.
Into a fire.
You literally can read it and fall asleep. I'm a world building fantasy junkie, and it was like reading the Bible.
But in a cool way with dragons.
Well, yeah, Bible with dragons.
I'm not a fan of a book that sounds like food poisoning.
Oh my God, Doc, give me penicillin. I've got Silmarillion. Um, anyway, yeah, you better take care of that before it'll start eating your brain. So our next topic is, so this is, folks, a rumor. It is nothing but a rumor, but boy, it's a super cool rumor. The image that popped up there is one of the many, many cover illustrations of one of the many iterations of the teams called the Young Avengers. This has the core. You can't really see him, but Speed is up there above Kate Bishop, Hawkeye. Wiccan right in the front, Hulkling next. Stature, Cassie Lang is down in the corner there. The very small image dropping out of the frame. Patriot about to slug somebody. Those are the core members of Young Avengers, and the rumor is that Marvel is making a Young Avengers movie. Now, it has to be called a rumor because despite the fact that there are now dozens, if not hundreds, of articles about this, they all cite the one original source, which is WeGotThisCovered.com. So
that doesn't sound sketchy at all.
Right?
Right.
Oh man, that makes me feel like they got it. I don't know why. I can't put my finger on it, but
exactly. Do you think they have it covered or anything? I don't know. So I really hope this is the case. The article also speculates that the girl that plays Cassie Lang in the so far 2 Ant-Man movies and has been confirmed to be playing her. I don't know if I've seen that as a confirmation. I thought I heard that she was confirmed to be playing it, that she will be appearing in Endgame. I'll have to look that back up, or somebody in the chat, look that up for me. Will be playing Cassie Lang and therefore Stature in this movie, should it happen.
I did kind of hear that, actually, now that you say it. Again, rumor, grain of salt, because they're time traveling, so they might see a future version of her, which is time travel is the best way to bring in a new show or new movie of Young Avengers, when the current Avengers are probably all half gonna die anyways, or go in different directions for the 30th time.
So nothing official. The actress named Abby Forston, as you said. Nothing beyond something being filmed this year.
Okay. All right. Well, if they make it, I really hope they do, because I love the Young Avengers. It is a great property. It is a great example of characters that are representation. You've got 2 of the primary characters are gay and in love. I just don't know whether or not Marvel would be brave enough to do that, and if they don't, they've ruined Young Avengers, if they happen to make it. Those 2 have to be the characters that they are in the comic book.
Yeah, that is the Marvel thing, isn't it? To just not want to put that in a movie.
Yep. Yeah. Unfortunately, it is. So we'll have to see, 1, if we get any news about whether or not this is actually going to happen, and 2, if it does, whether or not Marvel will actually step up to the plate and have Wiccan and Hulkling be lovers. I was trying to think of something really funny, and everything that was coming up was probably offensive. Nope. All right, we'll stop.
I'm definitely interested in seeing if this really comes into fruition. I think it would be silly to not have Tom Holland's Spider-Man be part of that team, because he's just the right age for it.
It would be perfect, and Spider-Man definitely was. Peter Parker Spider-Man was a member of the team at various points, various incarnations of it. And they could put in other, like America Chavez is a member of the team from the 2013 reboot.
Please have Gina Rodriguez play her. Please have Gina.
I think Gina Rodriguez is a little too old to be a young Avenger playing America Chavez. Just saying.
We could CGI the Chaser, man.
Exactly, just like they're doing with Fury. I believe Latina actress that's playing Alita in Alita Battle Angel might not be a bad choice. Anyway,
Yeah, Rosa Salazar, right?
yes, thank you. Anyway, so we'll see where this goes. Fingers crossed that they do it, and fingers crossed they do it right. There's a lot of fingers to cross.
Yeah, please, Marvel, because I'll never hear the end of it from a bunch of my friends.
That is true. I can think of one in particular who would lose their religion in a big, big way. Justifiably. Moving on to our next two topics. Our last two topics are kind of, why would you do that? And the first one is, Disney's Hunchback of Notre Dame. Disney is making a live-action version of it, like they did with Booty and the Beast.
Or Aladdin.
Or like they're doing with Aladdin. This is apparently a thing that Disney is keen on, so we can.
Or the Lion King.
Or the Lion King.
Lion King's not live action.
Yeah, Lion King is really all CG.
Pseudo
live.
Those real animals that they have in it, huh?
Oh, good grief. Let's see. The list, it's funny. I had to pull this up just because I'm curious, like, how many things have they done? Jungle Book, 101 Dalmatians, Alice in Wonderland, Sorcerer's Apprentice, Maleficent, Cinderella, Jungle Book again, another Alice in Wonderland, Christopher Robin, I don't know if you want to call that. Upcoming, Dumbo, The Lion King, Lady and the Tramp. I did not know that was a thing.
Oh, no.
It's a documentary on my life.
Mulan, which I think I'd heard about.
Yep. Yeah, we talked about that.
Jet Li's in that one.
Yeah, that's not a musical either.
Maleficent 2. There's something called Cruella. Go on and figure that one out. Are you fucking kidding me? All right, can we put this? Can we do an entire episode of
Greg
this
dropped an F-bomb.
Idea?
What's this one, Greg? I can't wait.
That's a second one too. I feel like my
Lilo and Stitch live action remake.
What?
Date to be announced, but there's a writer attached to it.
Oh.
All right, man. We can do Detective
in
Pikachu.
development.
We can do Lilo and Stitch.
Lewis has a point.
All right.
So just there's so much foment going on out there about, as Anthony says, Disney, it's time to stop. No more.
I'm done.
You gotta forget. You're forgetting, folks. That's Charles Laughton, the classic live, because they didn't have CG. Hunchback of Notre Dame. There are so many. Lon Chaney has done this role. It goes back to the silent films. Yes, sir.
You can't compare any of the standard live to film adaptations of the book to a Disney remake, because this was obviously a peculiar musical adaptations with dancing gargoyles and
but can you compare it to the Disney live actor stage version that's been on Broadway for years?
I don't know. I haven't seen that.
They have live actors portraying this Disney story already.
Really?
Yes.
I need to look that up.
With the musical score from the animated Disney movie?
I believe so. Actually, Disney fans.
I'm just a Broadway.
All right, everyone in the chats. Greg just crossed his arms. It's about to get real.
Harumph. So while Byron is looking that up, even if it isn't that particular Disney one, that's yet another Broadway performance of the Hunchback. That's live actors. I don't see this as being as much of a problem. Yes, Byron.
It was off Broadway, actually.
Off Broadway. Was it a Disney?
Yeah. Yes, it was. So you're half correct. There was a musical made of the Disney version. It just never made it to Broadway.
Well, that may tell you something, that if it didn't make it to Broadway, it probably was pretty awful.
This of all, I mean, I get The Lion King, I get Aladdin, I get Mulan. Whether they're good or not, I'm not commenting on any of that. You know, I get Beauty and the Beast. Those reasonably can work. Hunchback of Notre Dame is a freaking dark ass story.
Well, that is true.
It's just it's a grim story about obsession and religious mania and hypocrisy, with fun dancing gargoyle songs. Yay!
But
I mean,
I kind of like the movie because I like Tom Holtz. He's a good actor.
can we
Demi
not
Moore was-
can we not say the same about Aladdin? And because Jafar was pretty stocky, rapey, obsessive.
Sure, absolutely.
yeah,
But in a cute Disney way.
I think you're. I think it's a little darker. I think the Hunchback is a little darker because of the time that it's set in, with the religious persecution of the gypsies and so on that was going on. But frankly, with that story, it's kind of the perfect movie to make in the Me Too movement, and the current persecution of minorities
True.
growth that's going on.
And I think they prefer being called Roma, not Gypsy.
They do, and I'm sorry. Thank you very much. Bad me. However, the rumors are that Idris Elba has been cast as the Hunchback.
Damn, now it's getting sexy.
There you go.
Oh my!
All right.
Bring in sexy Hunchback.
That throws a little.
I mean,
something, a little curveball there.
All our grousing aside, like, let's be honest here. Disney is here to make money, and all of us people, minus myself, who's barely seen any Disney movies, is gonna probably go see any live action that they make because they know that we're gonna go see it because it's just.
Yeah.
I love nostalgia, man. Nostalgia
Yep.
lures people back to the theaters all the time, and it's cool. I'm appreciative of reboots of nostalgia movies with the understanding that that's where they stand versus where the original stand. And as much as a rebooted nostalgia movie can bomb, me personally, people have disagreed with me on this, but when nostalgia rebooted movies tend to bomb, it tends to bring the attention towards the original movie that we all love, and people tend to go and watch that and binge watch it with friends, which kind of brings it into the next generation. So I think that's acceptable to me. I feel like that's a good bullet to take.
So I gave you some bad information there. So there are two different things going on here. Apparently, Idris Elba is doing a modern standard Hunchback remake, of like the Charles Laughton or Lon Chaney versions, and Josh Gad is being rumored for the part of Quasimodo.
I can see him playing Quasimodo actually.
I can too, and he is also producing, which is kind of interesting. I didn't know he had production desires in him, but so. Sorry for that, and that's a correction. So now I'm actually kind of looking forward to seeing the Idris Elba regular live-action Hunchback movie. Yeah.
I think, Lewis, to your point, if it's done well, I'm totally behind it. I just find this particular or conceptually this particular choice peculiar because it was such a dark. Like I found the animated movie itself very peculiar because it's such a dark story.
Yeah.
And it's hard to do that in a Disney way where, like every bad guy, the good guy never kills the bad guy. The bad guy falls off of something and dies. No one actually jams a sword through them because it's Disney. It's hard to take something like that seriously when it's so PG. And the songs were cute, but they didn't really fit very well, I didn't think.
I don't know. Hellfire was actually best song.
Then again, I know a 4-year-old girl who that's one of her favorite Disney movies. She likes it better than Frozen, which good parenting right there.
Yeah. I mean, it's fair. It's fair what you say. I mean, that is a very valid point to make, and I think maybe Disney might be just doing it because if I recall, and I could be wrong, Someone can absolutely correct me on this, but I recently recall Hunchback being one of the more popular Disney movies up there with Aladdin, and that's why all the popular ones are getting like live action stuff first, because you want to keep that money rolling in, so you pick your popular like IPs first, and then you go down the line. A lot of people dig Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Yep, that's fair. I mean, I thought
Yeah.
it was amusing. I would have enjoyed it better if it had been a straight Disney animated movie and had not been a musical. But so the original animated came out in 1996. It grossed over 325 million worldwide and was the fifth highest gross of 96, which I don't know what that compares to, but that's a pretty, it's a pretty decent chunk of change for a Disney movie that doesn't fit squarely into the standard, cute fairy tale genre of a lot of Disney movies.
You're chomping at the bit there, Byron. Stop chomping and start talking.
I was going to say, Greg, you're honestly going to tell me you felt nothing from Hellfire?
Oh no, I enjoyed it. I just thought that it was. I found. I don't know. It's sometimes musicals are chocolate and peanut butter, and sometimes they're chocolate and sandpaper.
I definitely. I guess we'll have to agree to disagree, because,
That's fine.
The late great Tony J. He's not known for his singing, but that song suited his voice and the gravitas of his character so much.
So Anthony brings up a really interesting point here. Will people get sand in their bum cheeks about Josh Gad being the Hunchback, given the fact that he made LeFou a gay character who was interested in kissing Gaston?
They probably will.
They probably will, because homophobes like getting sand in their butt cheeks, which is kind of ironic when you think about it.
Who knows? I guess we'll find out sometime in a couple of years or so.
Speaking of a couple of years, which would be, in fact, actually 1 year, which would be 2020, that's our next topic, folks. The next kind of why, although we understand why. I guess the question is, what's the right why? That is, of course, the final reveal at the end of the little teaser that Jason Reitman put out when he announced he was making a sequel to the original Ghostbusters. That is, of course, the original Ecto-1. The question is, I guess, is this a movie that needs to be made or should have been made, or is this just an answer to the Ghostbusters reimagining?
Oh, gosh darn it, as long as it doesn't have any women.
Or they're just secretaries.
So here's a funny thing, and a few of my friends and I were talking about this like 4 a.m. on Discord for some ungodly reason, and there's an additional rumor to this that's been going around that comes from I'm gonna look it up later to send it to you. It comes from a person who is fairly reliable when they report these sort of things. So the premise of the movie, and again, everyone super adobo grain of salt, because clearly it's hearsay until we know otherwise. But the premise of the movie is it's going to be kids, and kids are going to be the primary characters of this movie.
So basically, Extreme Ghostbusters.
Well, hold on. It takes place in a rural town. With a retired family or family in general, and they're going to be doing some of this ghost busting, but it's largely going to be a kids movie. And it's funny because when you look at the trailer's in the barn covered in a tarp, which God, that kind of leans towards what that rumor is. But how are the people who, and let me be very specific, how are the asshole Ghostbuster fans, not the good Ghostbuster fans, how are the asshole Ghostbuster fans gonna accept that when they're chomping at the bit for a direct sequel of number 2 with people who are dead? You're mute. I don't know if you're
Rodney,
muted.
we got
then,
no
but-
audio on
So
you
first
there.
off, now that
There we go.
I've turned my audio back on after taking my drink, Reitman has said that this is set in present day. It is a sequel to the first two movies, but there will be a 30-year time gap. So it's definitely not going to be a movie starring the original cast because some of them are dead. So
Right. I mean, some of them can guest star.
right. Making them little kids seems a little odd for timing. I mean, the little kids. I mean, assuming they had kids within the 10 years after, the kids would still be in their 20s.
I mean, I wish I could answer these questions, but it sounds to me like someone's really using Stranger Things here as a jump off point.
Or someone's imagining somebody would be using Stranger Things as a jump off point. Until Reitman says or we get any further information, honestly, I don't. If any of the toxic Ghostbuster fans are expecting there to be an actual sequel using the original characters and essentially as the primary actors, they're idiots. I mean, it just, again, one of them's dead, so it just ain't gonna happen.
True.
It's reasonably safe to assume that Dan Aykroyd will show up for as much as they let him.
True.
Since he's been pushing hard to do it for years.
And
I tend to doubt Bill Murray will. Harold Ramis definitely won't.
Ooh.
Maybe the ghost.
Too
the
soon?
Ghost of Harold Ramis.
Hologram Harold Ramis.
There we go.
Nice.
Yeah. I mean,
now I'm going to go see it.
the only way I could really envision the way those toxic people are viewing it is a baton passing to another group of men.
Well, yeah.
So,
Yep.
Oh, please make them be all children and all girls. Please.
so in the rumor it says 2 boys, 2 girls.
Well, even the fact that there's 2 girls, it would just, I'm sure the toxic Ghostbusters fans, as Anthony said, toxic Ghostbusters fans? Never.
I just think it's because if this is real, this will be, for me, it'll be goddamn hilarious, because to watch such a toxic fandom chomping at the bit to get the sequel that they've demanded over and over again because the reboot wasn't up to their manly Gillette not watching specs, like, and then to get the son of the original guy to do a new movie, and then it's not the movie that they want anyways, is fantastic to me. I don't give a shit. I'm petty as hell. I'm a petty fucking guy.
That's why we love you.
Let's be petty. I don't care.
Yeah. I mean, the bottom line is that, I mean, in my mind, there's literally no way you can't satisfy people with this. It's going to be what it's going to be, even if it's an absolute nostalgia play, which seems unlikely. I mean, there'll be heavy doses of nostalgia in there. It can't be the original cast. Maybe there'll be some cameos, maybe something along those lines, but it's going to be The Force Awakens. It's going to be, set in the same universe.
Please be Last Jedi. Please be Last Jedi. Somebody shows up with a proton pack and go.
Yeah, Lewis, I seem to recall reading or hearing a while ago something along the lines of what you were just saying. Not the particulars, but it might have been Dan Aykroyd, though I absolutely don't remember, who said something to the effect of, we're too old to put on the suits. No one wants to watch us, galumphing around. It'll be about a handing off to a new generation, which, from somebody who enjoys Ghostbusters, but I don't have a vested interest one way or the other. Okay, that sounds kind of cool.
Yeah.
But for the percentage of the population that absolutely got their panties in a twist about it, may not satisfy what they're looking for.
Yeah, I mean, all my pettiness aside, I'm gonna be real serious for a second. But growing up, I liked Ghostbusters as a young man. I read the IDW comics, which are incredible. Those are incredible comics. And I'm totally fine with a baton passing. Even if it was a team of 4 guys, I'm fine with that. That's cool, as long as you build the world out to include a support cast and then inevitably another character of some diverse nature being injected at some point. A TV series, whatever. I'm fine with that stuff. What I'm never and will never be fine with is toxic fandoms who are wearing rose-colored glasses on how great something they think is and how that methodology, that way of production should always stay the same, because that's bullshit. There's so much to Ghostbusters that people can enjoy. There's no reason to gatekeep it just so you and your 5 friends who are drinking beer in your overweight costumes can enjoy it. Because honestly, unless you're watching those movies every day of your life 3 times a day, there's no way that you don't get sick of Ghostbusters at some point. And let's be real here, the first movie was great, the second movie was kind of So
kinda.
Yeah, so
it's okay.
That's nostalgia.
Jump in there, Byron.
Sacred cows make the best burgers.
Yeah.
On that note, we've gone right up to exactly an hour, and Anthony, I love this idea. Ray Stans shows up with a proton pack filled with Crystal Skull vodka.
That's my brand, man.
There you go.
I've been to that convention.
That's true. Get those product tie-ins. All right, folks. Gentlemen, do we have any could we please or could we nots? I didn't ask in advance, so probably not.
I think Hunchback covers mine.
All right.
Wait.
Yeah.
Stop supporting commission shops that do not do their returns. If you purchase things from things like Kigu Stop and you support them, that's ridiculous. Commissioners are a business. Commissioning is a business. Stop enabling bad commissioners, because that impacts the community, the cosplay community as a whole. You keep giving them buys, letting them do what they want, rip off the customers. Everyone suffers. It's not just the customers. Everyone suffers off of that.
I agree 100%. Didn't you do this rant last week or 2 weeks ago?
No, it was a different shop.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, on that note,
I do have a can we please? Can we please get more amazing isekai series like Rising of the Shield Hero? Because I am all for deconstructions and just new exploration of tired concepts like that.
I agree. That's an amazing anime so far. It'll be interesting to see whether they keep the character as bitter and kind of unlikable as he became.
Character bitter and unlikable.
Yeah, being a bitter mofo myself, I relate to him in a number of ways.
All right. On that note, folks, so thank you all for joining us. Thank you for the wonderful activity in the chat. And for Greg Wonderlama, Cosplay and Photography or Photography Snyder, for Louis Correa, Crash the Stampede, Crash the Photos, Crash Override, for Byron D0 of the Weeb Trash Can Podcast, I'm Rodney Brown, Editor-in-Chief of Nerd Caliber, and signing out. We will see you next week. I will throw in just a little tease. Go on to the website. We got pictures from Arisha and a bunch of reviews up there already this year, so check them out. Nerdcaliber.com. And we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.